Okay, welcome to Action Research lesson number 7. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about referencing and citing styles. Okay, so we're going to start by describing plagiarism, the types of plagiarism, the ways to avoid plagiarism, what is referencing, the importance of referencing, parenthesis, citing, and the different referencing and citation styles. So for plagiarism, this is the act of presenting another person's work or ideas as your own. So it's a type of intellectual theft. It can take many forms, from deliberate cheating to accidentally copying from a source without acknowledgement. So plagiary or plagiarism derives from the Latin word plagiarus. So this means a kidnapper, and it was first described in literature by the dramatist Ben Jonson in 1601 to describe someone guilty of literal theft. So why would people do plagiarism? So there are reasons for plagiarism, such as: 1. There are many reasons for plagiarism, starting from the individual and not limiting to institutions, journals, textbooks, agencies, international trials. So an inherent desire or urge to be successful, cultural, psychological, aggressive nature towards success, fear of discrimination for failure, promotion, financial or job gains, peer pressure, and need to increase one's record number of publications are some of the individual causes for plagiarism. Another cause for plagiarism is lack of education at the undergraduate level regarding plagiarism and the dogmatic view expressed in the textbook without ability to self-support other reasons for this trend. Then also another reason is people want to get to university or get these research grants, incentives from pharmaceutical companies, increase academic or social performance of the department, gain access to international research, aim of publishing in indexed journals, other causes of plagiarism at institutional level. Shortage of time, inadequate preparation, poor English writing skills, poor writing skills, the pressure to publish more articles in a shorter time, poor quality or maintenance of the journal, lack of proper guidelines, poor reviewing methods. There are so many reasons for plagiarism. So now let's just look at the types of plagiarism. So 1, you can do plagiarism by downloading an assignment from an online source and then you submit it without even editing. Number 2, buying or stealing or borrowing an assignment. Quoting from a source word to word without using quotation marks. Copying, cutting, and pasting text from an electric source using the words of someone else. Lifting sentences and paragraphs from someone else. Relying too much on other people's materials. Avoid repeated use of long quotations. Putting someone else's ideas into your own words. So this table you see here is just showing types of plagiarism in another way, right? So we have clone, we have CTRLC. So these ones I want you to look at them when you are free. You can check the PPT because the video here you cannot understand everything, but you can check the PPT, you read them slowly. They are understandable. And then we also have websites or programs that check for plagiarism. So here we have cross-check, copyfind, safe-assign, TB Blast, Viper, google.com, authenticate, Turnitin. These websites, they help you, like when you finish writing your paper, you can upload your paper on these websites and then they will scan for you to check plagiarism percentage. So most of the journals or most of the scholarly platforms, they usually like articles. They usually like articles which contain a plagiarism percentage of 20% or 15% and below. Then, how do you avoid plagiarism, right? So to avoid plagiarism, number 1, always acknowledge the original source of the idea, text, or illustration. So how do you acknowledge? Obviously, you acknowledge this by using a citation or a referencing, right? Enclose within quotation marks all the text that has been copied verbatim from another source. When paraphrasing, use your own words also. You can try to find synonyms of the words which the person wrote. Synonyms are like words which are similar to the original word. For example, good, the word good is a synonym like nice, right, or you can check on Google, it can show you the synonyms. Then when you are not sure if the idea or fact they wish to include is common knowledge, you cite references. So one must cite references accurately. The writer must read instructions to authors to know what style they need to use. So they can be Vancouver or Harvard referencing. Avoid writing multiple separate articles if he can present a large complex study in a cohesive manner in a single article. Along with the manuscript, submit a cover letter to the editor clearly stating any instances of overlapping from previous publications and asking for advice. If unintentionally using somebody else's ideas or text without appropriate referencing, to write to the editor of the journal for advice. So these are ways of avoiding plagiarism. Okay, so besides plagiarism, let's move to referencing. So referencing has become an integral part of all sorts of academic writing, the major purposes of which are to discourage plagiarism and give credit to the scholars or researchers for their efforts in the growth of knowledge. So there are several referencing styles that are used throughout the world, some of which are common than others. So though automatic reference generators are now available, nevertheless, there's no parallel to manual creation of your references, for it makes you far more familiar with the format of the style. So in this PPT, we have elaborated the major differences that exist among the various types of referencing styles. So here it's just in this slide you just find a definition of referencing, right? So referencing can be defined as a method of acknowledging and recognizing someone for his or her innovative work that you used in your research to back and support your idea. So a reference usually has the name of the author, the date of the publication, the name, the location of the publishing company, the title of the journal, name of the book, title of the research or a chapter's name, and then DOI, that's the digital object identifier. So in your document, referencing is done at two levels. First, you need to give a brief reference in the body of the text, which is called an in-text citation. And then secondly, a detailed reference list is provided at the end of the document, right? So referencing allows you to acknowledge the contribution of other writers in your work. Whenever you use words or ideas or information from other sources in your assignment or your paper, you must cite and reference those sources. So referencing is a system used in most academic communities to indicate where ideas, theory, quotes, facts, and other evidence and information can be found. Okay, so let's look at why referencing is important. It's important because it gives credit to the writers or the scholars who contributed to that idea. Can be used as a means of avoiding plagiarism. Is a way of providing evidence to back up your claims or views. It gives credibility and persuasiveness to the piece of writing, informs the readers or examiners of your writer, the growing knowledge in that field. It enables the readers or examiner to trace your source of information in that piece of writing which you do. It is the best way to keep a record of sources of information used while conducting your research. And then it aids in the creation of new ideas and insights regarding the research. Okay, so after talking about referencing, we now want to talk about parenthesis. So parenthesis is a word or a phrase or a clause inserted into a sentence as an explanation or afterthought. So when a parenthesis is removed, the surrounding text is grammatically sound. But a parenthesis is usually offset with the parenthesis, round brackets, commas, or dashes. Without wasting much of your time, let's just go and show you the example of a parenthesis, right? So before we go there, I just want to explain a little bit. Parentheses are used in sparingly in formal writing. In general, people don't okay, they use them like in novels. When you read novels, you can find those parentheses. So now we are not going to focus on novels, but it's just for you to understand. So we're going to focus this parenthesis in research. So in research now, for example, a sentence might read air pollution has increased 100%. So similarly, citations that direct a reader towards a source list or a bibliography are often placed after a sentence inside parentheses. So example, a sentence was written, air pollution has increased by 100%, see chart 12. So this thing you see in bracket written, see chart 12 is the parenthesis. So why it's important? It's like they are trying to say, whenever you mention a statement in your research and you know the statement was not yours, make sure you remember to do this. After the full stop of the sentence, you put a bracket and put your citation. So the citation is a parenthesis here. So always remember to quote whoever said the statement which you use. So this is an example of the parenthesis in a sentence. You see? When you have time now on the PPT, you can just read it slowly and then you see how it's done. For example, after 10 years, the water levels rose significantly, full stop. See table 5A. So this thing written see table 5A is the parenthesis or it's kind of like citation, meaning you are not the one who can prove this thing, but it can be seen through something like this in the bracket. So let's talk about citation. So citation is the way you tell your readers that certain material in your work came from another source. So it also gives your readers the information necessary to find the location details of that source on the reference or works cited page. So a citation includes a set of parentheses, like I was saying, can be brackets, can be semicolon, and so forth, where you write like see table what, or Johnny et al. 2020, so forth. Without that set of parentheses, one does not have a proper in-text citation and can get at risk of being charged with plagiarism. So the aim of citation is to provide enough bibliographic information for the reader to be able to identify and, if necessary, obtain the original resource. So let's go here. When do you cite? So you cite when you use words, thoughts, or ideas of someone else. When you directly quote, when you paraphrase, when you use or reference an idea or a thought that has already been expressed, when you make a reference to another source, when another's ideas or words or thoughts have influenced your writing and research. Then the types of citation, we have 3 types, right? So the first type is a parenthetical citation. Then so the 3 types of citations, we have parenthetical citations, numerical citations, and note citations. So parenthetical citations, you include or identify details of the source in the parenthesis in the text. Usually the author's last name and the publication date. So you can put the author's name and the publication date. Then numerical citations now, you include a number in the brackets or in a superscript, something like a superscript is like a number which appears on top. So which corresponds to an entry in your numbered reference list. The note citations, you include a full citation in a footnote or endnote. is indicated in the text with a superscript number or a symbol. Okay, so in this, you see now in this slide, you can see the types of citations which we were discussing previously. So there's one parenthetical citation, this one where you said you can just put the author name and the year. Then numerical citations, this one you put a number. So a number you put is a superscript, a number which is on top. Like you remember in mathematics, you used to say x squared. So that is square, the number which is on top. That's how you reference or cite. Then we have not citation. So examples of parenthetical citations, we have AA, APA, APSA, ASA, Chicago, Harvard, MLA, and so forth. And then numerical citations, we have ACS, AMA, CSE, IEEE, NLM, Vancouver. Note citations with Blue Book, Chicago, Turabian, or Scholar. Okay? So typical citation styles and the disciplines that you use. So for economics, if you are in the field of economics, they usually refer Harvard. For engineering and IT, they like IEE. For humanities, Chicago Notes, Harvard, MLA. For law, there is Blue Book or Scholar. For medicine, there is AMA, NLM, Vancouver. Political science, APSA. Psychology, APA. Science is ACS, Chicago. CSE, Harvard. And social science, AAA, APA, ASA, Chicago, author to date. So for your case now, because you are in education, education is also taken like social sciences. So we can use the APA. The APA is very good. So which citation style to use for the action research? So today there are various citation styles that are in use. Different academic disciplines have different priorities on what is important for the subsequent reader of an academic paper. So different colleges and university or publishers have differing rules about citation of sources and referencing styles. So for this case, like I said, APA style is mainly used for social science and education. So APA is the American Psychological Association style. We're going to discuss it. So when you are referencing and citing, remember the first thing is to put in-text citation while you are talking your story. Then when you finish the story, at the end of the story, you put a reference list of those citations now. You put a reference list corresponding to those citations which you put in the paper. Okay, so remember we said when citation styles, there are 3 styles. So the same happens again to referencing styles. We have 3 styles. We have the parenthetical, the name and the author. I mean the name of the author and the year. Then we have the numerical, that superscript number. Then we have the note one. But normally in most research, there's parenthetical or numerical. So in a parenthetical, we have AAA, that is American Anthropological Association. So here, like I've shown you in this slide, you can see the reference entry, how you reference. You put the name like Clark Kamari M 2013. Then you put the title of the paper, Notes on Cultural Citizenship in Black Atlantic World, the name of the journal, the journal number maybe, the issue number or volume number, the month, and the pages, 464 to 474, and the website. So sometimes there can be the DOI number, which is the digit object identifier, or the website where it can be found. Then in-text citation, while you are writing, when you have an idea about that person, you just say bracket Clark 2013. So this is for the AAA. Then for the upper, which is the one recommended for you, that one is the American Psychological Association style. So when you write reference, you write like this. The name, you see the name of the authors Wagman J, Wega U, the year, the name of the article. So you see it's almost similar to the AA. And then when you are doing in-text citation while you are writing your story, you do bracket Wagman and Wega 2021, comma 2021. So the moment you introduce that comma, it means you are using upper. But for AAA, there was no comma, right? Then APSA. This one is American Political Science Association. So you see how they reference during this example, similar to the others, eh? And then when it's in-text citation, it's Word 2020, there's no comma. So you can see it's already different from upper, but similar to AAA. Then we have number 4, ASA, American Sociological Association. These are the reference here. And then their in-text citation is this one. You see? Then we go Chicago. Chicago, their reference entry is this one. You see here. And then the in-text citation is like this. Then we go to CSE, that's Council of Science Editors. This is their reference entry. Okay. Already you are noticing some difference and similarities, but it depends on you. You are the one to choose the style you want. But the most recommended one for education and social science is upper, right? And then the in-text citation is this one, Graham 2019. Harvard, the Harvard reference entry is this one. Then the in-text citation is this one. MLA, Modern Language Association, reference entry is this one. Then in-text citation is this one. Already you are noticing something different here. You are noticing now they write the name of the author and 155. I think that's the volume number. See? Okay. Alright, so for the parenthesis citation, we've finished, and referencing. Now we move to the numerical citation and referencing. So number 1, we have ACS, American Chemical Society. The reference entry is this one. And of course, the in-text citation we don't show because remember we said it's a number. So you just write, if it's article 1, you say number 1. If it's article 2, you say number 2 up to 50. If you use 50 articles, you just write in terms of numbers. So there's no need to show you the in-text citation. Then the AMA, American Medical Association. This is how they enter their reference. And of course, the in-text citation, remember, we said it's a number. We are under the numerical styles. Next, CSE. This is how they enter their reference. Okay. IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. They enter using the reference like this. Okay. NLM, National Library of Medicine. Their reference entry is this. So you're going to take your time, you look at the PPT, you read it very slowly to understand the differences between these referencing and citation styles. Vancouver, this is their reference entry. So when you are using numerical style, the most preferred one under numerical is Vancouver or AMA. That is for medical disciplines. Okay, then we move to the last style of referencing and citation called the notes. So we have Blue Book. This is how they enter their citation. Then we have Chicago Notes and Bibliography. Okay. Then we have Oscola. Okay. So for the note one, we don't want to use that one, but we are going to use either you choose between the numerical styles or the parenthetical styles. But the parenthetical styles is the one advised for you because you are under education in social sciences. So people would want to know the name and the author while you are talking. While you mention your idea or anything in your paper, you have to show the name of the author and the year so that people get what you are saying. So if you want to understand more, you check these references which I've listed for you and you can understand more. So thanks for your participation and listening and attention. We meet for the next lesson.